hiccups. Come hither, come. Here shall we see no enemies, but winter and rough weather.
Thank you, Crystal Millie Valdez, for that beautiful rendition of Under the Greenwood Tree from Shakespeare's As You Like It. Hello everyone, I'm your host, Avi Hoffman, and I want to welcome you to GableStage Live! And our Festival of Classics. On behalf of Shakespeare Troupe Incorporated, Grace Arts Center, the Joseph Papp Yiddish Theater, a division of Why I Love Jewish, What If Works Company, and the theater departments of Florida International University, the Miami-Dade College and University of Miami. We would like to thank Barry Newport, the new artistic director of GableStage, for allowing us to use this legendary Florida theater. Today we dedicate our performance to the memory and the legacy of GableStage visionary and founder, Joseph Adler, who provided so many opportunities for artists here in South Florida, just like me, to practice their art and to follow their passion. Also among those artists is the fellow sitting right next to me, Mr. Peter Dahlman, and he is the producing artistic director of the Shakespeare Troupe.
That's right, Joe Adler. Joe Adler cast me in my first play when I migrated here from New York a few years ago. What I didn't know was that GableStage was originally known as Florida Shakespeare when Joe began here. Now, the works of William Shakespeare hold a particular passion for me. And since today is a celebration of the classics and most notably Shakespeare, I'd like to follow Millie's great song with a recitation of that greatest of speeches from The Tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, and his ruminations on life and death, after he has met with the ghost of his father and is told to avenge his king's murder. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous...
Peter, I'm sorry. When I was young...
It was going well.
It was going very well, absolutely. But when I was young, I actually heard that speech in the Yiddish theater in New York. And I always thought the original went a little differently, if you don't mind. This is how I've always heard the speech. It used to go like this. Zu sein oder nicht zu sein. Oder da liegt der Hund begraben. Sie ist etwas nobler. Euch zu stehen die Pfeil und Beugens von dem Paskuten im Geul. Oder sich stellen an Ketten, dem Jam mit Zorris. Und einmal vor allem macht ein Eck. Assof. Potteranese, genug, fertig! Ich hab schon nicht kein Keuch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I never forget speech
Yes.
Is that in fact Yiddish?
Yes.
Is that Hamlet in the Yiddish? I know Shakespeare has been translated into many, many languages, but what in the world has Shakespeare's Hamlet got to do with Yiddish? What do they have in common?
I will give you a hint. A young child of immigrants who spoke no English, and yet he miraculously ended up changing the very essence of theater in America and the world, not to mention establishing free Shakespeare in the park.
That could only be one person.
That's right, Yosale Papirowski.
Joseph Papp.
Yes.
the esteemed producer and founder of Shakespeare in the Park and the Public Theater in New York.
Now, this month would have been his 100th birthday. He was born Yossel Papierovsky in Brooklyn in 1921, the son of Jewish refugees from Poland. And as a child, Yossele was immersed in this beautiful, deep, and rich Yiddish language and culture. Yiddish was actually Joe Papp's first language, and that's why he so enjoyed hearing Shakespeare in every language.
And we can think of no finer use of Shakespeare's glorious language than that found in the opening of The History of King Henry IV, when the chorus, or the narrator of the story, appears and entreats the audience to listen and imagine the scene that he will describe. And here to present chorus is one of South Florida's award-winning actors with an incredible range in classical American musicals and dramatic literature, our very own Wayne Leggett.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Yet, should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, and let us, ciphers to this great account, on your imaginary forces work. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them printing their proud hooves at the receiving earth, for 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply, admit me, chorus to this history, who, prologue like, your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Wayne, again. Since our Festival of Classics is not only for Shakespeare, we are very excited to introduce a scene from a contemporary piece about the Shakespearean milieu.
Written by Lolita Chakrabarti for her husband, the celebrated classical actor Adrian Lester. Red Velvet explores the life of Ira Aldridge, the first black actor to play Othello on the British stage. Invited at short notice to substitute for an injured Edmund Kean at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, Aldridge shocked the actors and the audiences alike with his raw and spontaneous behavior on stage.
As with Shakespeare, Ira was an actor before his time, as he attempted to pass on his instinctive approach to acting to his tradition-bound fellow actors. Like Stanislavski's system in the 19th century, Ira's approach in the 19th century was a new and unwoke language.
So here now, representing the Department of Theater at Florida International University, are Warren Wells as Ira Aldridge and Shadya Mufti as Ellen Tree.
Miss Tree.
Ellen, please.
Ellen, shall we lead to the Moor's entrance?
Indeed.
Oh, my fair warrior.
My dear Othello.
Ellen, would you mind trying something?
Trying?
Sorry. When you greeted me,
That
it
is
felt
for
a
Mr.
little...
Keene. Of course. I do beg your pardon.
Not at all.
What is it you would like?
I like chance, possibility. I like to listen and respond.
Ah, so you're an advocate of the domestic style of acting.
I'm familiar with that school, yes, but I try not to be tied down to one style.
I see.
There are, of course, a few styles that I just avoid.
Oh, would the Teapot School of Acting be amongst them?
It would.
And have you seen Mr. Kemble perform? Then we need say no more.
I like Mr. Cook's method.
Do you really? So do you write your verse in prose?
Yes, but I cheat a little.
Cheat.
I don't write it down, but I speak as I feel. Truth alters rhythm and gesture, don't you think? The old guard doesn't always like it.
Yes, I know, but I do feel quite strongly we mustn't allow the mundane to interfere with the gamut of our performance.
Not at all. I want truth to inform the depths and heights of what we do, not to reduce it.
I find rhythm a necessary framework, otherwise one could slop around quite randomly.
Of course, you're right. What I'm saying is I'd rather slip in and out of rules than be strangled by them.
So what rules do you propose to break, Mr. Aldridge?
I feel if we trust each other, well, no one will get there.
So I may play what I feel?
Absolutely.
How avant-garde. What if you don't like what I do?
It's not about me. It's about being true to the tragedy.
What frustrates me in our profession, Mr. Aldridge, with all due respect, is the absolute attention given to the leading actor so that the story becomes lost. Without Desdemona, the tragedy does not exist. N'est-ce pas? If we play together, we conjure magic.
My thoughts exactly. Shall we?
Yes.
Oh, my fair warrior.
My dear Othello.
Ellen,
Mr. Aldridge.
Ira, please. We've just escaped the storm. I fear I may never see you again. So this greeting of ours is intense.
Oh.
And this is the only part of the play where we speak our love freely and in blank verse. So the perfume of the moment must, how can I say it? Envelop us.
Oh.
I'm seeing how beautiful you are, how you trap me entirely. I'm imagining our marital bed.
Oh.
A newfound soldier would savor this new contrast in his life. Don't you think?
Yes, I suppose.
And you?
Well, as a young, relatively sheltered woman, I too was afraid in the storm and am in awe of this gentleman warrior, this new husband.
Would your sheltered woman be also thinking of her newfound passion?
Oh,
It's all in the play.
what else would she be thinking of?
Good. Let's try that again. And when you say my dear Othello, look at me.
But doesn't that keep all intent between us? I mean, we mustn't neglect our audience. They're one of our greatest players, after all.
Yes, but if the passion isn't simmering between us, they'll feel nothing at all. Oh, my fair warrior!
My dear Othello.
It gives me wonder great as my content to see you here before me. If it were now to die, 'twere now to be most happy, for I fear my soul hath her content so absolute that another comfort like this seeks an unknown fate.
Do you mind a little friendly observation? When you said content, you put the emphasis on the first syllable, content, which is very American, I think.
I like its scale, its volume. Wonder great is my content. Wonder as vast as myself in all
I see
its...
that, I do. I merely thought if you tried content, as we say it, meaning happiness, it makes the scale larger, allows the line to expand even more.
It gives me wonder great is my content. Great is my content to see you here before me. Yes, I see. Interesting. I'll try it. Thank you.
Pleasure. The heavens forbid, but that our loves and comforts should increase even as our days do grow.
Amen to that, sweet powers. I cannot get enough of this content. It stops me here. It is too much joy. And this the greatest discords be, that o'er our hearts shall make.
Oh my God, he kissed her hand. Having learned English as a second language, Joe Papp fell in love with Shakespeare's eloquent use of words. And he found in the Bard's plays a way of escaping the bleakness of his own poverty-stricken youth, where he was forced into shining shoes, hawking peanuts, and plucking chickens to make a living.
But being from a different culture, cultural tradition, Shakespeare was a stranger to Joe. He didn't admit to anybody that he loved Shakespeare, because on the block, his block in Brooklyn, they would have beaten him up if they had known. But he had a vision to do all the plays in the Shakespeare canon.
Joe Papp felt that theater is alive when it's attached to what's going on outside of it. So it's always the interaction of these two that were of interest to him. As a matter of fact, the first production of Shakespeare in the Park, in Central Park, at the newly built Delacorte Theater, was The Merchant of Venice, starring George C. Scott as Shylock the Jew. And since Yiddish is over 1,000 years old and was spoken by most European Jews, it is conceivable that Shylock might have spoken Yiddish.
Harvey, if I were to recite some Shylock in English, do you think you could translate it into Yiddish for our listening audience?
Peter, perhaps you could translate the Yiddish into the more recognizable English.
I can try. Is it the scene in which Shylock, the moneylender, wants his bond carried out, which is to exact a pound of flesh from the merchant, and then he's asked, how could he be so cruel and unforgiving?
Ich bin a Yid.
I am a Jew.
Hat denn nicht a Yid kein Augen?
Hath not a Jew eyes?
Hat denn nicht a Yid kein Hand?
Hath not a Jew hands?
Kein Everen?
Organs?
Kein Chushim?
Senses?
Kein Gefühl?
Feelings?
Kein Leidenschaften?
Passions?
Ob ihr stecht uns, geht von uns kein Blut nicht.
If you prick us, do we not bleed?
Ob ihr kitzelt uns, lachen wir denn nicht.
If you tickle us, do we not laugh?
Ob ihr versammt uns, starben wir denn nicht.
If you poison us, do we not die?
Und wenn ihr tut uns schlecht, soll mir nicht nehmen, keine kommen.
If you wrong us, shall we not revenge? Harvey, I hope you get to do the entire Merchant of Venice in Yiddish someday. I enjoyed our recent collaboration on our English virtual reading of The Merchant of Venice. We portrayed Shylock, which incidentally is available on the Shakes Troupe Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Viewers will find out if Shylock gets his revenge.
Now, staying with our I am a Jew theme, classics can include many different faces and times. In the next scene, adapted from the now famous diary of a young Jewish girl during World War II, after a year and a half spent in hiding together with their families, the teenagers, Anne Frank, played by Maria Alexia Hernandez, and Peter Van Dan, played by Luis Otamendi, find themselves alone together for the first time. Please welcome the students from Miami-Dade College's theater program performing a scene from the Diary of Anne Frank by Francis Goodrich and Albert Hackett, newly adapted by Wendy Kesselman, and originally directed for MDC by James Alexander Bond.
You left this.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for what happened in there. I wish I could have said something. But they make me feel so... I can't stand it when they... You know, sometimes I wish I didn't belong to them at all. I just hope I never turn out like them.
You won't. I know it.
Like him. What if I'm like him?
You're not. Believe me.
All I can say is, if it wasn't for you, I don't know. I mean, you've always been a big help to me.
I am? How?
When you're cheerful, it keeps me from feeling depressed.
I'm not always so cheerful, you know, inside.
Really?
It's hard. If you want to cry or something, there's nowhere to go.
Well, it's easier for me, I guess. When there's a fight, you know, with my parents, I can just duck into my room.
You're lucky, having a room of your own.
Well, at least you can talk to your parents.
Not really. I can't discuss anything serious with Mother. She just doesn't understand. I could talk about everything with Father, except Mother. I don't think you can really be intimate with someone if they hold something back. Do you?
I think your father's terrific.
He likes you too.
You think so?
I can tell from the little things he says. It's funny, isn't it?
What?
Well, this is the first time in almost a year and a half that we've really talked.
I know what you mean.
You know something, Peter?
What?
I've never really had a friend. Not someone I can truly confide in.
Me neither.
The sun is shining, the sky a deep blue, there's a magnificent breeze, and I'm longing, so longing, for everything. I walk from room to room, breathe through the crack in the window frame, feel my heart beating as if to say, can't you fulfill this longing at last? I long for it, every boy. And to Peter I want to shout, say something, don't just smile at me all the time. Touch me, so I can get that delicious feeling inside. I feel spring within me. I feel spring awakening. I feel it in my entire body and soul. I'm utterly confused. I don't know what to read, what to write, what to do. I only know I'm longing.
One of our associated groups is What If Works, which attempts to bridge the academic and professional worlds. And what better way to build that bridge than a scene from Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew.
Petruchio, a 16th century young man with an entrepreneurial spirit, has arrived to wive and thrive in Padua. In other words, he is seeking new clients for his taming school for wives back in Verona.
A head-turning, eyebrow-raising idea in today's age of cancel culture. Having successfully tamed some of the land's most shrewd and ill-favored women, Petruchio arrives at the house of Baptista Manola, a man desperate to see his eldest daughter married and out of the house. Happy to oblige, Petruchio suddenly finds himself face to face with the fiery and independent-spirited Catherine.
Here now, to perform Act 2, Scene 1, from The Taming of the Shrew, are Gabriel Perez as Petruchio and Shadia Mufti as Catherine.
Good morrow, Kate. For that's your name, I hear.
Well, have you heard, but something hard of hearing. They call me Catherine, those that talk of me.
You lie in faith, for you're called plain Kate. And Bonnie Kate. And sometimes Kate the cursed. But Kate, The prettiest Kate in Christendom. Kate of Kate Hall, my super dainty Kate. For dainties are all Kates. And therefore, Kate, take this of me. Kate of my consolation. Hearing thy mildness praised in every town, thy virtue spoke up and thy beauty sounded, yet not so deeply as to thee belongs, myself unmoved to woo thee for my wife.
Moved? In good time. Let him that moved you hither remove you hence. I knew you at once you were movable.
Why, what's immovable?
A joint stool.
Thou hast hit it, come sit on me.
Asses are made to bear, and so are you.
Women are made to bear, and so are you.
No such jade as you of me, you mean.
Alas, my fair Kate, I will not burden thee, for knowing thee to be but young and light.
Too light for such a swain as you to catch, and yet as heavy as my weight should be.
Should be. Should buzz. Oh, come, you wasp. If faith you are too angry.
If I be waspish, best beware my sting.
My remedy is then to pluck it out.
Aye, if the fool could find out where it lies.
Who knows not where a wasp does wear his sting? In his tail.
In his tongue.
Whose tongue?
Yours, if you talk of tails, and so farewell.
Well, my tongue in your tail. Nay, come again, good Kate, for I am a gentleman.
That I'll try.
I swear, I'll cuff you if you strike again.
So may you lose your arms. If you strike me, you are no gentleman, and if no gentleman, why then no arms.
A herald, Kate. Oh, put me in thy books.
What's your crest, a coxcomb?
A comb is cocked, so Kate will be my hen.
No cock of mine, you crow to like a craven.
Nay, come, Kate, come. You must not look so sour.
It is my fashion when I see a crab.
Why, there's no crab, and therefore look not sour.
There is, there is.
Then show it me.
Had I a glass, I would.
Hey, come, Kate, you must, Kate, not so.
I'll chafe you if I tarry, let me go!
No, not away. I find you passing gentle. Just told me you were rough and coy and sullen, and now I find report a very liar. For you're pleasant, gamesome, passing courteous, but slow in speech, yet sweet as springtime flowers. Oh, let me see thee walk. Thou dost not help.
Go, fool! In whom thou keepst command.
Did ever Diana so become a grove as Kate's chamber with her princely gate? Oh, let thou be Diana, let her be Kate, and then let Kate be chaste and Diana sportful.
Where did you study all this goodly speech?
It is extempore from my mother wit.
Oh, witty mother, witless else her son.
Am I not wise?
Yes, keep you warm.
Marry, so I mean, sweet Catherine, in thy bed. And thus speaking in plain terms, setting all this chat aside, your father hath consented that you shall be my wife. Your dowry agreed on, and will you, nill you, I will marry you. Now, Kate, I am a husband for your turn. For by this light whereby I see thy beauty that doth make me like thee well, thou must be married to no man but me.
Staying with strong female characters, we now present recent graduates from the University of Miami in a modern battle of the sexes. August Strindberg's Miss Julie, with Tara Irwin as the strong-willed aristocrat, and John Zachary Roberts as her father's valet, Jean.
You're quite strange, you know.
Perhaps I am, but so are you. And besides, everything is strange. Life, men. It's all an iceberg which is floating out into the water until it sinks. And I have a dream which comes up now and again, and it haunts me. I feel like I'm on a pillar and I can't get down. I feel dizzy when I look down, but I have to get down all the same. And once I get down to the ground, I just want to sink into the earth. Have you ever felt anything like that?
No. I dream I'm lying under a tall tree in a gloomy forest, and I need to get up to the top, and look at the lightscape where the sun shines and plunder the bird's nests where the golden eggs lie. and I climb, but the trunk is so thick and so smooth. And I so far to the first branch, but I know if I could just reach the first branch, I'd go straight to the top, like a ladder. I haven't gotten there yet, but I must get there. If it's only a dream.
And here I am, standing chattering to you. Come on, now into the court.
We must sleep on 9 midsummer flowers, Miss Julie, to make our dreams come true.
Oh, let me see what you've got in your eye.
Oh, it's just a bit of dust.
Oh no, it was my sleeve that grazed you. Come sit, let me get it out of your eye. Oh. Be still, be quite still. Must you be obedient? Do you believe the great strong man is trembling?
Miss Julie.
Arms like that.
Miss Julie.
Yes, Monsieur Jean.
Attention. Je ne sais ce qu'on met.
Oh, must you be obedient? See, I got it. Kiss my hand and thank me.
Miss Julie, Christine has cleared out and gone to bed. Won't you listen to me?
Kiss my hand first.
Listen to me.
Kiss my hand first.
Fine. But you'll have to suffer the consequences.
What consequence?
What consequences? Don't you know it's dangerous to play with fire?
No, not me. I'm insured.
No, you're not. But even if you were, there's flammable material close by.
Do you mean yourself?
Yes. Not because I'm particularly dangerous, but because I'm a young man.
With an excellent appearance. What incredible vanity. A Don Juan, I suppose, or a Joseph. I do believe, on my honor, the great man's a Joseph.
Do you believe that?
I almost fear it.
as you could probably realize by now, the classics means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Ladies and gentlemen, our musical director and brilliant master of classical jazz. What's your name again? Phil Hinton!
Speaking of jazz, the next selection is from the short play Jazz Genius by novelist Steve Amick. In it, two amateur aficionados do a deep, hyperbolic dive into the unknown and suspect lore of the classic jazz greats. Please welcome Gianfranco Hernandez and Alex Perez from the Miami-Dade Theater program.
And we also have to warn you that this selection contains classic adult language.
Yeah, but now, Miles, listen, cats could blow a note that could manipulate metal. Man-made alloys, the pure metals, whatever, yeah. Guy can bend a spoon with a couple bars of Nature Boy. You think I'm exaggerating, but I saw this shit go down already. It was an after-hours jam at Billy Bird's. And Miles was riffing on Gershwin's Gone, I think it was. It was messing with time changes and moving it into some crazy mellow key like B-flat minor, stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I couldn't do it, but he hit this high F. And the music stand in front of him actually starts to melt. I mean, it's going all wobbly, like the thing's made out of a solder or some shit. And I'm saying, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? But you know, Miles is cool as shit. Giving out with that same old evil eye and not dropping a beat. Oh, turns out, Cat does this kind of thing all the time. Even used to do a little arc welding on the side when times was rough, just to put a little extra scratch in his pocket. I mean, if that's not a cat, hell, Philly Joe. Yeah, Philly Joe claimed Miles came over one weekend and put up some aluminum siding on his house just by whipping through the diatonic scales.
That's nothing. That's like blue-collar work, that shit Miles did. You want to talk about unreal? You gotta be talking about Coltrane. Man, Train did stuff in his sleep that to this day cannot be explained. When he really gets going, especially when he's soloing off Red's piano riffs, some odd things will go down. Few people would know about it, but you see, I happen to have known the cat. He would reach this certain place, this state of mind. He referred to it as the plateau. The man would actually levitate. This is no lie. I am telling you, he would lift off the floor a good 3 or 4 inches and just hover there till the groove fell apart or the drummer took a solo. Whichever came first. But most folks never noticed it because Train thought it was distracting or embarrassing or something and had some special weighted shoes made for him. Would keep him on the ground. But baby, that man can make himself float.
And I call bullshit. Why was the songwriter?
The battle of the sexes theme continues, this time in a witty Shakespearean comedy. Beatrice and Benedict are two of Shakespeare's chattiest characters. In an early exchange between them, let's hear how each sizes up the other in this opening scene from Much Ado About Nothing.
Doe a deer. Once again, from the University of Miami Theater Arts Department, my alma mater, let's welcome program graduates, Hallie Grace as Beatrice and Timothy John Patrick as Benedict.
If Signor Leonardo be her father, she should not have his head on her shoulders for all Messina, as like him as she is.
I wonder that you will still be talking, Signor Benedict. Nobody marks you.
What, my dear Lady Disdain? Are you yet living?
Is it possible Disdain should die when he have such meat food defeated as Signor Benedict? Courtesy itself must
turn to disdain when you are in her presence.
Then is courtesy a turncoat? But it is certain that I am loved of all ladies, only you excepted. And if I would, I could find in my heart that I had not a hard heart. For truly, I love none.
Oh, great happiness to women. They would else, a great happiness to women. They would else be troubled with a pernicious suitor. I thank God and my cold blood that I am of your humor for that. I would rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me.
God keep your ladyship in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall scape a predestinate scratched face.
Scratching could not make it any worse as 'twere such a face as yours was.
Well, you are a rare parrot teacher.
A bird of my tongue is better than a beast of yours.
I would my horse had the speed of your tongue and so good a continuer. But keep your way, in God's name. I have done.
You always end with a jade's trick. I know you of old.
You know, Shakespeare usually ends his comedies with marriages, couples getting married. But in the much darker political tragedy, Julius Caesar, the bard writes of a marriage torn apart by the demands put upon a senator, a respected leader, who must save the republic from the grasp of a beloved friend who would be the king of it. His conflict is told through the eyes of his wife, Portia, played by Crystal Millie Valdez, with Wayne Leggett as the conflicted Marcus Brutus.
You've ungently, Brutus, stole from my bed. Yesterday at supper you suddenly arose and walked about musing and sighing with your arms crossed. When I asked what the matter was, you stared upon me with ungentle looks. Now I urged you further, yet you answered not, with an angry wafter of your hand gave sign for me to leave you. So I did, fearing to strengthen that impatience which seemed too much enkindled, and withal hoping it was but an effect of humor, which sometimes hath his hour with every man. I will not let you eat, nor talk, nor sleep. Could it work so much upon your shape as it hath but prevailed on your condition, I should not know you, Brutus.
Peter Gallman and the Shakespeare troupe of Florida will now perform a scene from one of Shakespeare's most popular comedies.
Oh, now?
Yeah, you definitely. In Twelfth Night, the aristocratic Lady Olivia has cloistered herself from the world and allowed her puritanical steward to run the household. Olivia's uncle, Sir Toby, played by John Barry Green, lives in her household as a kind of a guardian against the ascetic life of Malvolio. And he, along with Maria, a lady-in-waiting, played by Courtney Poston, and Festi, Olivia's fool, played by Michael J. Font, attempt to strike a tone of mirth when Sir Andrew, a rich suitor played by Peter Gallman, comes a-calling with a purse full of money that the great clowns mean to have.
By my troth, Sir Toby, you must come in earlier o' nights. Your cousin, my lady, takes great exceptions to your ill hours.
I let her accept before accepted. What a plague means my niece to take the death of a brother thus
I am sure care is an enemy to life.
Aye, but you must confine yourself within the modest limits of order.
Confine? I'll confine myself no finer than I am. These clothes are good enough to drink in.
Quaffing and drinking will undo you. I heard my lady talk of it yesterday, and of a foolish knight that you brought in one night here to be her wooer.
Ooh, Sir Andrew Aguecheek?
Aye, he.
He hath 3,000 ducats a year.
Aye, but he'll have but a year in all these ducats. He's a very fool and a prodigal, and he's drunk nightly in your company.
With drinking health to my niece, I'll drink to her as long as there's passage in my throat and drink in Illyria. What, wench? Oh, here comes Sir Andrew Agueface.
Well, Toby Milch! Sir Toby Milch!
Sweet Sir Andrew!
Good morrow, fair shrew.
And you too, sir.
Accost, Sir Andrew, accost!
What's that?
My niece's chambermaid.
Good mistress, accost. I desire a better acquaintance.
My name is Mary, sir.
Good mistress, Mary, accost.
Accost means affront her, board her, woo her, assail her!
By my troth, I would not undertake her in this company.
Fare you well,
Fair
gentlemen.
lady, do you think you have fools in hand?
Oh, sir, I have not you by the hand.
Mary, but you shall have. And here's my hand.
Oh, now, sir, thought is free. I pray you, bring your hand to the buttery bar and let it drink.
Sweetheart, what's your metaphor?
It's dry, sir.
I'm not such a fool, but I can keep my hand dry. But what's your jest, sweetheart?
A dry jest, sir.
Are you full of them?
Aye, sir. I actually have them at my fingers' ends. But now I let go your hand, I am barren.
Oh, thou lackest a cup of canary night. When did I last see thee so put down?
Never in your life, I think. Unless you see canary put me down. Methinks I have no more wit than an ordinary man. Faith, I'll home tomorrow, Sir Toby. Have none of it. Your niece will not be seen. Or if she be, it's 4-1. She'll none of me. The Count himself here hard by. Woot her!
She'll none of the Count. I've heard her swear in a tut. There's life in it, man.
I'll stay a month longer. Fellow of the strangest mind in the world, I delight in masks and revels, sometimes altogether.
Oh, what is thy excellence in a galliard? Kennigat?
Faith, I can cut a cape.
Well, let me see the caper.
Oh. Shall we set about some revels?
What shall we do else? Let me see the caper.
Oh.
Come now, my hearts.
Oh, here is a coin for you. Let's have a song.
Wouldst thou have a love song or a song of good life?
A love song, a love song.
Faith, I care not for a good life, no.
Oh, mistress mine, where are you roaming? Oh, say and hear your true love's coming. Ooh. Work and sing, both high and low, both high and low. What is love, 'tis not hereafter.
After.
Present mirth have pleasant laughter.
What's to come is still unsure. Use of self cannot endure. Not endure.
Good, Faith, good.
Yes. Good. Good.
Mellifluous voice, as I am a true knight.
Shall we not rouse the midnight owl? Shall we not have a catch?
And you love me, let's do it. I'm a dog at a catch.
Higher ladies, sir. Some dogs do catch well.
Begin, fool. It begins, hold thy peace, hold thy peace.
I shall never begin if I hold my peace.
Oh, good. Begin, come, fool, begin.
It goes, there dwelt a man in Babylon, lady.
There dwelt a man in Babylon, lady. On the 12th day of this Babylon, lady. There dwelt a man in Babylon,
If my lady had not called her steward Malvolio and bid him turn you out of doors, never trust me.
Oh, am I not consanguineous? Am I not of her blood?
Joseph Papp was eventually known as an advocate for free Shakespeare in the park, in Central Park in New York, and around the world. And by his iron will, his dedication, and his amazing fundraising skills, he was able to revolutionize our approach to Shakespeare and theater in general, as we know it. Now, of course, all the organizations that are with us here today are nonprofit organizations. That means we're public charities. And although we do receive support from some organizations and sponsors and donors and public governments, we do need your help. So please, go find the Festival of Classics Eventbrite page, and there you will be able to help support the work that we do so that we can bring you many, many more events like this. They used to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed the mob. When there was earth to plow or guns to bear, I was always there, right there on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be standing on line, just waiting for bread? Once I built a railroad, made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Hey brother, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower to the sun, brick and rivet and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Hey brother, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we looked swell, full of that Yankee doodly-dum. 500,000 boots went slogging through hell. And I was the kid with the drum. Say, don't you remember? They called me Al. It was Al all the time. Say, don't you remember? I'm your pal. Say, brother, can you spare a
You know,
spare a dime.
Yes, because we're all nonprofits. And we're doing this together with the support of our sponsors. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors on the show for that. And we want to continue doing this and connecting with other institutions, both academic and professional, and create a groundswell of festivals of classics around the country. So please, we can only do this with your contributions. So please go to our website, the Eventbrite at Festival of Classics on Eventbrite, and donate now while we're still doing the show, and we'll be happy to continue doing it. Your passion will match ours, and vice versa.
And keep on donating while we thank our grant sponsors: Miami-Dade College, Kendall Campus, the Humanities Edge, Culture Builds Florida, Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs, and Dr. Bruce and Leslie Zaffron, whose support made this program possible.
And thanks to all here assembled at the GableStage at the Biltmore Hotel, cast, crew, and staff, for your artistry, hard work, and amazing talent in making this a live stream festival of classics.
Oh, yeah. You see? Our brilliant musical director, Phil Hinton, is reminding us that it's time to conclude our Festival of Classics. Now, I recognize this tune. It's a song from Hair, the avant-garde musical that had its roots in a workshop at Joseph Papp's Public Theater. And then Joe brought that show to Broadway and the world. That production, Hair, revolutionized the theater as we know it. Galt McDermott and James Rado gave Joe their best in the song Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In. And if you will join us on June 22nd, we are commemorating Joe Papp's centennial birthday, his 100th birthday, with songs, scenes, and interviews, and many, many wonderful celebrities and artists who are joining us on June 22nd, most of whom work with Papp. And I haven't told this to anybody yet, but we already know and have confirmed several major celebrities, including Mandy Patinkin, Nathan Lane, F. Murray Abraham, Rex Smith, Mark Lynn Baker, Helen Epstein, his biographer, the people who create Tracy Holder and Karen Thornton, who created the documentary film Joe Papp in 5 acts. We have so many people: his widow, Gail Merrifield Papp, his daughter, Susan Papp Lipman, and all will be with us live and on video on June 22nd. So go to our Yiddishkeit Initiative Why I Love Jewish website, whyilovjewish.org/PAP100 to find out a little bit more and join us at our day of festivities honoring Joe Papp at 100. Now, you won't want to miss it. And until then, I want to invite all of our participants from today's festival to join me in this song as we let the sun shine after a year and a half in quarantine. We're live on a stage again. we want to let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. But I would like to sing it in the language in which I believe it should have been written. So just a little taste. I would like to begin the song Aquarius in Yiddish. Wenn die Sonne verstellt die 7 Chmares und Jupiter ist gleich mit Mars, dann Liebe und Scholem Wellen kehren mit die Planeten und die Sterne. Das ist...
Okay, we gotta go. Yeah, let's do it in English now. Come on.
All right.
I want to die to do this one. This is great.
So we invite everybody to sing the song. Sing along with us in English.
When the moon is in the 7th house
And Jupiter aligns with Mars,
and the peace will guide the planets, and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius.
Thank you.